Hey, what's up, everyone? Morey Croson here with the Performance Lab of California. Going to do another speed breakdown here today. It's going to be on Carmelita Jeter. Wanted to do another female breakdown here. There's just some differences that you see between the female breakdown or the female sprinting and male sprinting that I think is interesting. And then also, just want to get a wide variety of different athletes that are just performing at the top of their ability, and I think Carmelita Jeter is definitely one of those athletes, especially in the United States. So we'll hop right into the breakdown. What's interesting about Carmelita Jeter is she has a great turnover. I mean, we'll get into it more. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with the original get off, you could see how a lot of these girls when they're coming in, the knee is really far inside. You can see how that's more towards us, and the foot's on the outside. There's a couple of them that have a similar kind of movement here, where the knee is coming in and more. What that does, it makes it so you have a little bit more range of motion in that hip to allow you to get more of a reach there on that first step. So that's really good. A good first step, a good little thing to think about is let that knee come in, let that foot kind of come out, and that'll help you get that knee up a little bit more as you begin to stride out. And then another thing is, as you drive that knee up, make sure that you're also going into extension of the knee. So see how, this is Carmelita right here. See how she's getting that knee all the way up, and then she extends out with it before it touches the ground, and that helps her get a push off, okay? And then she pushed off the ground. Now the next leg comes up and through, knee's a little bit more inside, foot's a little bit more outside. Then she starts to push down to straighten that leg out, so now that foot's getting right up under her knee, but she's pushing down to help her accelerate. And as she gets into top speed, you can see how she really ends up doing that nicely, okay? She really does a good job of extending, so she gets that knee all the way up and then extends out, and that's what makes her strides just look so long. She's so effective on the front part of the sprint. Okay, so we'll start to go here now. She's starting to get into her top end speed. So notice how she does such an effective job getting that knee all the way up, extending that leg, and then cycling back underneath. The best thing that she'll be able to work on, though, is when she's here, be able to get off the ground a little bit quicker. She has a little bit too long a foot contact time, and then make it so that push-off becomes more of a horizontal push-off. So by spending too much time on the ground, what ends up happening is you end up developing more of a horizontal push. So when she's pushing off and really making it so she's propelling herself forward, which, she's obviously won this race and is one of the fastest, women in the world. So it's not like she's, it's all bad. It's just an area that she can improve on, right? So she can push off, and when she's pushing off, instead of it, being as much of a horizontal, she could work on it being a little bit more vertical, and that would make it so her legs would go faster, and she could actually run a little bit faster time. But she's still, she's really effective in the front side of it, and I think that's part of the reason why, because she does such a good job of driving here. So she really pushes off and then bends that knee and drives forward and then extends, and she does that very effectively. This movement right here for getting that knee all the way up and then extending that leg, that's something that's very, very challenging to do. And she can do that very, very well. So, that's why she's one of the best sprinters in the world. So, I think that's something that we can work on. We have a little bit closer one here where you could really see, again, how effective she is getting that knee up and then extending there. See how she does that? That's excellent. And then cycling through. Notice how she has the air time to make it so she can get that knee all the way up and then get that cycle and make it so she lands and that foot is just right about underneath that knee. That's so good. It's a little bit out in front. You want it to be right lined up with the ear, so you want you want to be able to get a little bit further back, but overall that's not bad. And then the thing is right about here is closer to where she'd want to get that toe off. She takes a little bit too much time, partially because she lands with the foot so far out in front of her, but she can do a better job of getting that toe off and spending a little bit less time on the ground with each one of her steps. Okay, so when she's pushing off here, now she's getting a little bit too vertical, getting that foot stuck a little bit too far back behind her, but overall, she's obviously a great sprinter. So again, it's definitely not all bad. One of the things that I thought was interesting here is, as we see Fraser Park start getting to top end speed, notice how her head starts to turn as she's going. So here you can see how she's looking pretty straight ahead and there's not too much turn. watch as she starts going. See how she starts turning her head to the side more and more and more? That's a compensation. And she was out in front, really, when we're talking about, like, right here. She was winning at this time when she was a little bit more kind of in sync with her body. But as she started getting caught, you could see how her head started turning off to the side, which is preventing her from getting that right arm to get back. I know this is a breakdown on Carmelita Jeter, but I just thought it was interesting how, essentially what she's doing by making it so her neck's turned off to the side, she's not letting that right shoulder and right T-spine work as well, because she's not able to turn as much to that side. If you turn your neck this way, then you limit your T-spine from turning this way, and that's something that's obviously impacting her throw. No, sorry, her sprint. So, and then we'll look at Carmelita Jeter. What Carmelita Jeter does really well is, she's actually similar in what arm is her primary arm. Her left arm, you could see her get all the way back and get a lot of extension, a lot of T-spine rotation. You can see how much her core rotates here in comparison to on her right side. She's much more back to straight. She doesn't get as far back here. This hip is still almost turned open to this side. She doesn't get this hip all the way back around, which is affecting her ability to get full force out of her core. Okay, so what you could do, or what you'd be able to do, is you'd be able to actually get a little bit more range of motion in her core going this way, and that would help her in really driving back with that left leg. So when she's pushing off that left leg, she's not going to have as much strength there because she's not able to create as much rotation in her T-spine to the right side and really get that good core activation. So when she comes this way, now it'd be the other way. So now she does get a good push off that right side and really generates a lot of force there. So, she's definitely, again, she's one of the top sprinters in the world, so it's not like she has like a ton of things that she can work on. But, just like everybody, there are some things that she could definitely improve in order to make it so her sprinting technique would be, much more close to, I guess, the most efficient that it can be. But on the opposite side of that, everybody has, differences in what makes them them. So, it's hard to be perfect. We all have different, muscle lengths. We all have different bone lengths. We all have different parts of our body that, can't be 100% explained by biomechanics. And so, part of what makes her good is probably the ability to not rotate to her spine to her right. But, I'm a big believer in kind of training your ability to stay pretty close to even from one side to the other. And, in order for her to do that, to be close to one side to the other, she has to get more T-spine rotation to the right. And again, that would help her get more hip flexion on the right side, which would help her really drive down hard here with that right leg and get a little bit more force there. So she's missing a little bit there, but it's it's just for you guys' information, ways that you guys know you can take the information and use it to better understand your sprinting technique and work on things that you want to work on to become faster. So as always, guys, thanks for watching these videos. If you're interested in our speed breakdowns, you can go ahead and send us an email. We'll be able to tell you all about how you can do it. It's $100 for the breakdown, and you also get our access to our online membership, which has I think we have like 25 videos that go and do in-depth analysis about what the correct sprint breakdown's like. Just get a lot of good information there. I reference that a lot in the speed breakdown, so I would want you guys to have the access to the membership, and we're constantly adding more stuff, about 2 to 3 videos a week. So there'll just be more and more content. You get 12 months, a full year of that, as well as a breakdown, all for $100. It's a great deal. And if you have any more questions, you want to come in for a visit to the lab, you can check us out. performancelabofcalifornia.com. We thank you guys for watching these videos, and as always, we will see you soon.